This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, Invercargill's Hop and Vine Festival has finally gone ahead after many setbacks. A Cromwell family has raised a considerable amount of money towards cancer research. And walkers in Canterbury are pleased about a new promenade along the banks of the earthquake-hit Avon River. Tēnā koutou katoa, ngā mihi o te ahiahi nei, kia ora. I'm Simon Anderson. Southerners hopped into a Southern Beer and Wine Festival at the weekend. Hop and Vine was delayed by COVID-19 for 6 months and lost more than $20,000 due to ticketing company going into receivership.
A cold beer after a very long wait. After 6 months of COVID-19 related delays, Invercargill's Hop and Vine organiser Kevin Downey is happy the wait is finally over.
We're 1 week away from ready to go, so we've done all the planning, bought all these things, and unfortunately we had to cancel at the very last minute because of COVID. So everyone's so happy to get back and partying again, so it's been such a long time.
The coronavirus disruption wasn't enough for the event to deal with. Downey is hoping to break even after they lost $24,000 when their ticketing company, Ticket Rocket, went into receivership.
We had a bit of a disaster with our ticket company going bust, and we lost $24,000 through that. So we were basically hoping we get a lot of walk-ups today. If we get 400 walk-ups today, which we're hopefully going to get, we can actually break even, and then we're going to get back to things next year.
More than 20 brewers brought along their wares for the just under 2,000 people keen to sample alcohol from all around the country. Catlin's Brewery's Norm MacLeod was one such brewer happy to be at the event, showcasing his beer and aged cider.
We have a variety of our standard beers. We've got 10 beers and a couple of different ciders as well. So we could bring some new ciders. They've already been brewed, but they've got to age about 6 months. We age cider like you would do with wine, because we do dry cider, not sweet cider. And it's a traditional English-style strumpy, and we've seen that Scotsman.
MacLeod says his business started 6 years ago and it kind of morphed from there.
Started the brewery in 2014. This is started as a hobby, and yeah, look behind me now. The hobby's kind of got out of control. So we're making up to about 600 litres a day, double brewing, and we're hoping to be building a new brewery hopefully in the next year. We were going to be doing it this year, but COVID and all that, we decided to wait another, see what's happening.
Next year's Hop and Vine Beer Fest is planned for March 27. In Invercargill, the South Today.
A car has smashed into the front door of a Dunedin motorcycle store. Police were called to MCR motorcycle replacements in Crawford Street at around 9:45 a.m. this morning. The driver may have suffered a medical event before crashing their car through the front of the store. St John attended the scene along with Fire and Emergency New Zealand personnel. The St John spokesperson says one person was assessed and treated at the scene for minor injuries. A Cromwell family have raised over $10,000 for the Cancer Society. The money was raised as their 6-year-old son skied down the slopes of Cadrona ski field for 40 days.
6-year-old Lockie Wynne from Cromwell has raised over $10,000 for the Cancer Society by being sponsored to ski 40 days on the slopes of Cadrona. His father Luke Wynne says the family were motivated to raise the funds after Lockie's mother Rebecca was diagnosed and successfully treated for a rare form of cancer.
I'm not going to lie, I felt like we went to hell and back, and to be fair, there's far more people in worse situations with cancer diagnosis than what we were.
Lockie and his father had already been keen on the idea of skiing 40 days in celebration of Cadrona's 40th birthday, before they decided to turn their efforts into a fundraiser.
Instead of just skiing randomly for 40 days, let's turn this into something cool. And I said, if you're going to ski for 40 days and you're going to fundraise, who would you fundraise for and why? And you said?
The Cancer Society, because they helped my mum when my mum got sick with cancer.
And I was like, rightio. Then I looked at them and I said, I'll do everything I can to make you be able to succeed and do this. Whatever you need, I'll help you out.
Lockie has become a bit of a fixture over his 40 days traversing the ski field.
You'll be on the slopes and next minute you hear someone calling out Lockie, and just one of his friends that he's met along the way, and then too heaps of people that have come up and shared their story about how cancer's affected them, and makes you realise how many people it actually does affect. I think there's probably not many households in New Zealand that haven't been affected by cancer.
Lockie's 40 days have seen him complete about 500 runs of Cardrona's ski slopes. In Cardrona, the south today.
A woman found to be significantly over the legal breath alcohol limit after her car ended up in Otago Harbour told police she had swerved to avoid some ducks. Police were called at 5:30 p.m. on Friday after a car left Aramawana Road and ended up in the harbour. The 41-year-old female driver had escaped the vehicle by the time they arrived at the scene. She told police she had swerved to avoid hitting some ducks. She recorded an excess alcohol level of 1,075 micrograms of breath alcohol, more than 4 times the legal limit of 250 micrograms. Police say their inquiries are ongoing. Walkers enjoyed a new trek along the Avon River in Christchurch last weekend. The 11-kilometre trail winds through the former red zone, which is now well on the way to becoming lush parkland, thanks to those who campaigned to save the many trees in the area.
Last Sunday saw a group taking part in the annual Great Otakaro Avon River Walk, which this year was dedicated to Avon River campaigner Evan Smith, who died earlier this year. Walk founder Mark Gibson says Smith spent the last 10 years tirelessly restoring the Avon River and turning the Christchurch Red Zone into a park.
We realised they were bringing the bulldozers in and just completely clearing sections. Fruit trees, beautiful established exotic and native trees, and thanks to his tenacity and giving the council and Sarah and so on a very strong message, that stopped.
The walk paused at a former cul-de-sac in Richmond, where Smith and his family had lived for many years until it was red-zoned after the earthquakes. There are now plans to install a bronze bust of the man who succeeded in bringing many groups together to make the area a flourishing park.
And he's left his mark everywhere really. Look, when you pass Riverbend Refuge, just over here there's some planting and there's some beautiful artworks by children of eels, and you read the signage and you can see it's just a classic example of how Evan collaborated with lots of different organisations and people.
The Te Ara Otakaro Avon River Trail through the red zone spans 11 kilometres. In Christchurch, the south today.
Still to come on the south today, we meet a centenarian not willing to split hairs over anything. And 10 years on from the Christchurch earthquakes, we assess Dunedin's earthquake risk in the first of our 10-part series. Ka kite a koe nei.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Hi, Al Campbell Menswear. We're back in George Street on the corner of Hanover Street. Come and check out our big store. It's a big space full of bargains. Now look at these shirts. There's shirts for everybody here. Look at these merino pullovers, stacks of moleskins, literally tons of trousers. Check out these big racks of sports jackets. Beautiful.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So come and check out Alex Campbell Menswear. We're back on George Street in the old ANZ building.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
Hoki mai anō, welcome back. A Mosgiel resident who turned 100 last week wasn't going to let festivities get in the way of her weekly haircut. Living independently, Eileen Pratt has never missed the important appointment since her early 20s.
Mosgiel resident Eileen Pratt turned 100 on Friday, but that didn't stop the sprightly centenarian from going out and getting her hair cut like she has done every week for the past 80 years. Still living independently, she says she goes out 3 days a week.
I come here one day. Monday I go out with my wee neighbour in front, and we go to the Aurora, and then there was 4 of us used to go on a Wednesday. Now there's only 2. One died.
She has her own preferred seat at the Mosgiel salon, which now has a plaque in honour of her loyal patronage.
Well, they used to just put a reserve on. Now they've done it. I'm here every 11 o'clock every Friday.
Yeah.
I'm a creature of habit.
Yeah.
Pratt's 100th birthday was celebrated with friends and many of her 3 children, 7 grandchildren and 15 great-grandchildren. In Mosgiel, the South today.
Tonight we bring you the first in a 10-part series on Dunedin's risk of an earthquake similar in magnitude to the ones that damaged Christchurch 10 years ago. One expert says geological evidence shows a potentially destructive earthquake hit Dunedin only 700 years ago.
10 years ago, Christchurch was rocked by a series of earthquakes that destroyed much of the inner city and some outlying suburbs. It happened to a part of New Zealand unused to feeling anything more than a minor tremble now and then. About 350 kilometres further south lies the city of Dunedin. It's not unusual for people here to sometimes feel the faint shake of distant earthquakes centred in Fiordland. But could Dunedin experience an earthquake of the same destructive power as the ones in Christchurch? University of Otago geology professor Mark Sterling says yes. He identifies this 4-metre-high ridge and farmland near the settlement of Akatori, about 25 kilometres south of Dunedin, as being created in a series of major earthquakes, with the last one occurring only about 700 years ago. If it moved like that again, Dunedin would probably be hit by an earthquake similar to what happened in Christchurch.
It would be a large earthquake over magnitude 7, and it would probably be very strong shaking and damaging shaking in Dunedin.
The fault line, called the Akatori Fault, stretches north through Tairi Mouth, finishing just south of Dunedin. It's moved with potentially destructive force in geologically very recent times. It sparked off a potentially destructive earthquake about 1,000 years ago, and then another quake about 700 years ago. And Professor Sterling says it's possible it could cause yet another quake any time.
Well, we can never say definite, or we can rarely say definite in science, but based on the time period it's been quiet and the short time period that these earthquakes have happened in, and the very short time period in geological sense since the last 2 of those events, 700 years, that would make me think that it's still in a phase of activity. So yes, future earthquakes on this fault.
DCC Heritage Advisor Andrea Farminer agrees it's important for the city to be prepared for the big one.
We can't just sit back and say it can't happen here, because it can happen here, and council really do acknowledge that it can, and one day it may.
In Dunedin, the South Today.
After the break on the South Today, red faces complement every other colour at Wanaka's Rainbow Run, and we have the early week weather for you. Hea koko ake nei.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم المؤمن المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر
Every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter, but it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
Hi, Alex Campbell Menswear. We're back in George Street on the corner of Hanover Street. Come and check out our big store. It's a big space full of bargains. Now look at these shirts. There's shirts for everybody here. Look at these merino pullovers, stacks of moleskins, literally tons of trousers. Check out these big racks of sports jackets. Beautiful.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So come and check out Alex Campbell Menswear. We're back on George Street in the old ANZ building.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Step into Shop on Carol and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen, and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
Inside are all sorts of innovations from all over China.
No mai nor. More than 600 people took part in the colour run in Wanaka over the weekend. Participants are encouraged to wear white or lighter colours for maximum effect when they're pelted by brightly coloured non-toxic dye.
Over 600 people took part in Wanaka's annual Night and Day Rainbow Walk and Run on Saturday, with 5 colour stations along the 5-kilometre course to douse the participants in brightly coloured, non-toxic dye.
More than anything, I think it's about getting families and kids outside and active. We live in a, world where it's quite easy to fall into the trap of just popping your kid in front of an iPad or a computer device, but coming outside on the beautiful Wanaka lakefront setting having a bit of fun, outside, getting some colour on you, some sun, some vitamin D, like what more could you ask for really?
And with COVID-19 restrictions now loosened, other runs are to be held around Otago in the weekends coming up.
So I'll be at the Balclutha one next weekend. There's one in Dunedin coming up, which was postponed due to COVID. But it's great to see, although we live in a COVID world, that these events can still happen. Something for families to do, really, get outside, have some fun.
Dunedin's Rainbow Colour Run is set to be held at Logan Park on Sunday the 8th of November. In Wanaka, the South today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South today. Invercargill's Hop and Vine Festival has finally gone ahead after many setbacks, including COVID-19. A Cromwell family has raised a considerable amount of money towards cancer research thanks to their young son's determination on the slopes. And walkers in Canterbury are pleased about a new promenade along the banks of the Avon River around 10 years on from the devastating quakes. And now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, we have Hayden Meikle with us this evening. Kia ora, Hayden.
Good evening, Simon. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you doing?
Excellent, excellent. Lots of news today. It's all happening. Invercargill, obviously, boy, it's all happening in Invercargill. We had the big news on Friday that Deputy Mayor Tony Biddle was stepping down. So today, Sir Tim Shadbolt has announced a deputy. Nobby Clark, the councillor, will be the deputy mayor. But it's an interesting process from here that we still have to see if the council actually supports it. I believe there is some sort of process of what might happen if they don't support it. So lots happening, lots more to come out of Invercargill. And also the big story, obviously, of late, the University Medical School, the University of Otago being challenged over their sort of pathways, over entry into medical school. The legal challenge has been resolved.
Yep.
We're trying to find out more about that. Of course, a father, I believe from Christchurch, had taken the university to court. So we're looking to find out more. How has that been resolved? Who's saying what? What does it mean for the future of that pathway? Up in Queenstown, interesting, as Queenstown slowly gets back on its feet post-COVID, businesses are desperate to find staff. So businesses are gearing up. The hospitality industry is starting to warm up a little bit.
Yep.
Domestic tourism, obviously, trying to take the place of international tourism. And I think 71% of businesses surveyed by the Chamber of Commerce have said they just can't find staff. They're saying they can't find New Zealanders to fill these roles. They desperately need some government help, either around financial support or around sort of visa situation, helping find migrant workers more easily, I suppose. And a bit of basketball. So there's a big 3-on-3 tournament coming up, which is great. It's a lot of fun, 3-on-3 hoops.
Yeah.
And the big news for Nuggets fans is that Sam Timmins will be playing for them. So big slamming Sammy. He's been at college basketball in the States, played for the Franklin Bulls this year in the full National League, but he's finally going to be seen in Nuggets colours in 3-on-3 hoops down in Invercargill. So should be very exciting. Should be fun to watch.
Great, Hayden. Thank you. And now time for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view of last night's sunset from central Dunedin. Looking at the situation, a cold front carries increasing northwest airflow into the region tomorrow, although cold northeasterly winds are likely on the Otago coast. The wind swings southwest on Wednesday, bringing rain and cold temperatures with snow on the ranges. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, Greymouth 15 degrees with showers and high humidity, and Westport 14 degrees with showers. To the northeast, Blenheim 21 degrees, mostly sunny but a few clouds will hang around. Nelson 18, partly cloudy and the sun peeking through. In Canterbury, Kaikoura 16 degrees and showers, 17 degrees and partly cloudy for Christchurch, and Ashburton mostly fine and 17 degrees as well and mostly sunny. Looking at the southern towns, moderate northwesterlies, cloud increasing and 16 degrees everywhere. The Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore. Travelling westwards to the Central Lakes region, light winds, some cloud and 16 or 17 degrees for Wanaka, Queenstown and Alexandra. Fresh northwesterlies and rain, Great Te Anau on 14 degrees. Looking at the northern towns, light winds and cloudy across this region, 15 degrees on the coast and slightly warmer inland, 16 degrees for Twizel, 17 for Omarama. In Dunedin, cloudy tonight with northeast winds developing, a low of 8 degrees. Mostly cloudy tomorrow with moderate cool east to northeast winds, a few brief showers possible in the evening, a high of 13 and a low of 6. Sunny periods at first on Wednesday, but becoming cloudy with rain and strong cold southwesterlies by the afternoon, a high of 19 and a low of 10. And in Invercargill, fine tonight with cloud increasing and an overnight low of 7 degrees. Fine tomorrow with high cloud thickening during the day and northwest winds freshening, rain developing at night with colder southwesterlies, a high of 15 and a low of 9 degrees. Rain easing to showers on Wednesday with fresh cold southwesterlies, a high of 11 and a low of 5. And that's the news this Monday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz or follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Nō reira, kia pai te pō, ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.